Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more relationship stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Really helps out the channel. And let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from ADR1452 and says, my 26 female, boyfriend's 28 male, sister-in-law 25 female, gave him a plushie for Christmas and didn't make one for anyone else. Throw away because I don't want this connected to my account. I just want to start by saying that I realize I might be totally wrong and insecure in this situation. I just really want another perspective or something because I just can't help the fact that this bothers me and I am admittedly feeling jealousy. I've been with my boyfriend for 6 months at this point. He has 4 siblings, 3 brothers and 1 sister. We are the shortest relationship in the family. 3 of his siblings are married and another is in a very long-term relationship. I think the shortest relationship in the bunch is 5.5 years, so I will admit I am a bit intimidated and insecure there. For Christmas this year, his sister-in-law made him a homemade plushie of this little blue baby dinosaur looking character from his favorite game, Guild Wars. The plushie is amazing quality and he absolutely loved it, but she didn't make one for any of the other boys who also love the game just as much. Not even her husband. In fact, she went out of her way to give it to him without his brothers around except for her husband. Her husband was just as excited for her to give his brother the gift as she was, but it felt just off to me. I haven't been able to stop thinking about it. Why would she work so hard on something for my boyfriend and no one else? It just felt like such a personal gift that I could never match, and I just feel like she totally took away from what I gave him. I did try talking to my boyfriend about it and how I thought it was weird. He said he didn't think it was weird at all because she has always been closer to him than the other brothers. Well, shouldn't she be closer to her husband than him? He didn't get one. I don't know. I asked him if he would give it back to her, saying he can't accept it, and he refused and said I'm being ridiculous. I just feel like a woman doesn't make such a personal gift for a guy unless they see them as something more. It was just how I was raised, and I hate feeling this way about something like this. I talked to my mum and sister, and they both agreed that it wasn't right, and that this was most likely the beginning of her trying to push me out. I just can't help but feel like she was trying to make him like her more than me, because he said she's never given him anything before, and this is our first Christmas together. I just don't know what to think, or if I'm overthinking this completely. Now, I personally feel that OP's overreacting in this situation, that they're sort of taking everything out of context, but OP does reply to some of the comments. So a deleted user asked OP, they said, you're reading way too much into this. As someone else said, there may be backstory on an in-joke there that you don't know about. Also, it's entirely possible that she's working on gifts for everyone else. If it's as nice as you say, it probably takes a while to make, so maybe she ran out of time. In quotes, I talked to my mum and sister and they both agreed that it wasn't right and that this was most likely the beginning of her trying to push me out. And it says, what the fuck? She's happily married to his brother and gave him the gift in front of her husband, and you think she's trying to push you out? That's a master level insecurity there. OP says, I guess the time thing is a good way to look at it. It does look very professional. I don't sew, so I really don't know how long something like this takes. And that's just how my mum has raised us. She's always been very protective of our father. I try not to be her because I know she can be a bit much at times, but this situation just completely threw me off. And it's honestly hard to see his other siblings' significant others fitting into the family unit so well, while I'm just the outcast. Wemble Wobble says you are overreacting. Being a jealous, paranoid and controlling girlfriend will drive him away. You've been together for 6 months and you're already trying to determine what presents he's allowed to receive from his family. That's crazy. You were the one making up a wedge to drive between you and his family, not her. Calm down, it's a stuffed animal, not a blowjob, which is probably what her husband got and why she didn't gift it in front of you. OP replies saying it wouldn't have bothered me if it was actually from his family. It's just that it's the significant other of his brother that bothered me. If his actual sister made it for him, then I would never in a million years have asked him to return the gift. Studio Assistant replies to that and says an in-law is actual family. And you do yourself no favors by making those kind of distinctions. My sister-in-law is my family and I'd be really annoyed if someone tried to tell me that she wasn't. Hope you respond saying, that's just a really hard distinction for me to make honestly. His one brother has been in a long-term relationship for 7 years. They do not plan to marry, yet the sister-in-law has been with her husband for 5.5 years. She hasn't been with a family for as long as the other one, who isn't married, so how is she more their family than the other girl who has been around longer? Just because of documents. I always viewed marriage as the couple making their own family unit. So OP does update the post, and they said my first post wasn't popular by any means, but it got a decent amount of comments, so I figured I'd update. I went a few weeks without saying anything else about the subject because everyone on here seemed to disagree with my side of things. And last Saturday, he told me he was going to be spending the day at his brother's just to hang out. We generally make plans on Saturdays, but I hadn't had the chance to make plans official with him yet. I just figured it was implied at this point. So I asked him if I'd be allowed to go over there with him. That's when he told me it was just going to be a day with him and his brother. So I reminded him that since it is his brother's house, then most likely his wife will be present too. So I didn't really see how it was fair. Ultimately, it blew up and I told him everything. Brought up the gift again and just how I feel intimidated by everyone and feel like his sister-in-law is on some pedestal or something because she gets to be there and I don't. I also mentioned how I just felt like I was being pushed out by her and that the gift made me uneasy. He was frustrated and told me that he was going to his brother's and that he would talk to me later. I spent all morning Saturday on edge and just completely jealous. And around 1 PM, his sister-in-law called me. I guess he gave her my number and asked me if I was free to meet her for coffee. I was confused but agreed to have coffee with her. I expected it to be awkward. At the coffee shop, she wasted no time to tell me that my boyfriend had told her everything. She said she wanted to meet for dinner because she wanted me to see her face and see that she was genuine in everything she had to say. She went on to explain that she had no feelings for him in the way I was implying to him and no intention of pushing me out. She said her original plan was to make the plushie for all the boys since they all play the game, but it took her way too much time to make one, so she wanted to give it to her favourite brother-in-law. I questioned why not her husband, and she said that she lives with him and he knew she was making it in the first place and that she could make him one any time and just wanted that one to be a surprise Christmas present. I told her I still kind of thought it was inappropriate since he was in a relationship now, and she just paused and didn't say anything for a few seconds. Then she asked me if there was anything else that was bothering me. I used today as an example and said it bothered me that he went to her house and told me I couldn't come because it was a day with his brother, even though she would obviously be there. She told me that it is a day with his brother and that just because she lives in the house doesn't change that. She said she kept to herself doing her own things while the boys played video games with each other and that my boyfriend came to her when she was in the kitchen to talk to her about me briefly. I didn't say anything. I still felt a bit jealous, but I just didn't know what to say. She then asked me if I had anything else I wanted to get out and I declined. She said that she didn't want to part ways without giving me some advice. She went on to say that she thinks I'm a very nice girl and the entire family feels that way, and wanted to remind me that all the spouses and significant others were new to the family at one point in time. She went on about how it takes time to feel a closeness with everyone and that she went through it too. She then said that she didn't want to come across the wrong way, but that I needed to work hard on my insecurities or else I would lose my boyfriend. She just went on saying how I'm so nice and that I'm ruining a good thing by letting myself overthink these things and by being so insecure. She told me to really think about how I am acting over his own sister-in-law interacting with him. That's when my stupid brain made me say, well, if you were to get a divorce, then you wouldn't be his sister-in-law and you'd be just another woman in his life. That was the moment it finally hit me just how crazy I was being. She gave me this look and said, well, we aren't getting a divorce, so... I just felt completely embarrassed and apologized. She then very nicely told me that on second thought, she thinks I might not be ready for a relationship at all, and that I really need to work on myself. That was pretty much the end of it, and we parted ways. I spent the rest of the weekend crying and hating myself. My boyfriend didn't call me or text me at all. Finally, on Monday, he asked if he could come over. So he came over and asked how it went with sister-in-law, and I had figured he knew everything, but he said that all she said was that he needed to talk to me. Turns out, he didn't talk to me all weekend because he was angry with how I acted about him going to his brother's house, then bringing up the gift again, and he just needed some space. He told me that he wasn't going to put up with this type of behavior and that it was putting way too much unnecessary drama into his life. As I'm sure you are probably guessing, he proceeded to break up with me. He told me he really cared about me, but he just can't imagine how bad it will get in the future if I'm already acting like this with people who are his family. I begged him not to leave and that I would do everything to change, and he just wouldn't budge. I haven't heard from him since. I feel like I had my heart ripped out and stomped on. It hurt so bad. I know it's all my fault. I have my mum and my sister telling me how it's good riddance and how he broke up with me so he wouldn't have anything holding him back from his sister-in-law, and this just broke me. I'm so done with my family and the way they put these toxic ideas in my head. I'm just done. So yeah, not a happy update. From here, I'm planning on working on myself and hope to someday maybe convince him to give me another chance. I don't know why I wrote this update. It just feels good to get it out, I guess, and further convinces me I need to change. I was really impressed with the sister-in-law in this situation and how they maturely handled that conversation, even the way OP was being with them. And I'm glad that conversation gave OP a moment of reflection and seeing that, their behavior is not normal and that they need to work on themselves, regardless of what their own family is saying, because they're not helping the situation at all. But what do you guys make of this one? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's move on to another story. Our next story comes from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit from Sleepy Golden Storm. And if you are eating right now, it's a story about poop, so you may want to skip this one. Timestamps always down in the description and on the timeline below. Let's get into it. Am I the arsehole? My dog pooped on the sidewalk that happened to be in front of a cafe in New York City. Owner was not happy. I just had an experience that I'm not sure how to feel about. I was walking my dog on a commercial street filled with small businesses and shops in Queens, New York. I had just come from the vet and my dog, a beagle mix, had been pretty nervous, so I thought a little walk would be nice. As we are walking, my dog suddenly stops and poops in the middle of the sidewalk. Now this is not an ideal place for him to go, and usually he tries to find a grassy spot off to the side, but apparently he needed to go, and this is where he was going. This spot he chose to go on the sidewalk happened to be in front of a cafe, about 4 feet in front of it. I didn't think much of it, or even notice what business I was in front of. I got out a poop bag to pick it up. I picked up the poop in the dog bag and tied a knot. There was a small amount of residue that I couldn't get off the sidewalk. Not sure how to avoid that. Just as we were about to continue walking, someone pops out the door, who I assume is the owner of the cafe, and says in a rude tone, "This is a business. Don't let your dog poop here," pointing to where the dog had pooped. "He should have pooped over there," and points to the curb. I didn't know how to respond, and I think I mustered something like, "This is a sidewalk and this is where he stopped to go." I didn't feel like I should apologize for anything in this situation, so I did not. I was more annoyed than anything. I turned and left without further engaging with the person. I noted the shop and made a mental note to never visit it. Just for a better visual, this cafe has no outdoor seating. This is just a public sidewalk in front of their cafe that is on a pedestrian street in a big city. I'm not sure what I could have done differently. I picked up the poop. The owner of the cafe didn't need to come out and say anything. They don't own the sidewalk in front of their cafe. This is New York City. We all have to share the sidewalk. Who's the arsehole? Now I'm going to quickly jump in before I even scroll down to the comments. I need to get this one out first and say, shit happens. I went on walking Poppy about. Generally, she'll find a grass area to go. It's just more comfy for her, I guess. But occasionally, and it does happen, she needs to go, and you can see the desperation, and she will go anywhere. For some reason, she seems to pick the middle of a road, or the middle of a path like you faced on this one. And quite frankly, if you try dragging her, you're just going to get a trail of turds, and nobody wants to be picking up a turd trail, and the dog wants to be dragged either while they're trying to lay one. So generally I just allow Poppy to have a little tootie, sort it out there and then, and carry on. It just happens, and to me that restaurant owner just needs to get over it. You picked it up, you did the best thing possible. But Bored Baker Pianist says, not the arsehole. For all those saying otherwise, have you ever experienced walking a dog and them needing to shit? Because let me tell you, once they decide they need to go, despite all the tugging and pulling on the lead, they won't budge. My dog once shat on someone's driveway and point blank refused to move anywhere else. It was embarrassing, but I did all I could and she wouldn't move. Super Mega says not the arsehole, and I seriously question the other responses. Drag the dog to the curb. Pick it up. That's ridiculous. Maybe someday we'll have a telepathic link with our pets, but until then, the best we can do is read body language and do our best. Shit happens. Glad I got there first. People acting like it's a major inconvenience to avoid the residue from picked up dog shit are completely delusional. You have to avoid obstacles in all urban environments at all times, and some of them are significantly more offensive than dog shit residue. It would be cool if 14-year-olds could stop answering "Am I the arsehole?" questions as if they have a lifetime of sidewalk dog shit experience. But I'm not going to hold my breath. Rainbow says, not the arsehole. You didn't expect your dog to poop in front of a business and you cleaned it up to the best of your ability. The business owner was rude, but I'd hesitate to label them as an arsehole because their frustration was understandable, especially if they're used to dealing with inconsiderate dog owners who don't even try to get their pets to relieve themselves in an appropriate area. Your response was awkward and an apology may have been more suitable. I'm sorry, I had no idea that he was going to do this. But that hardly makes you an arsehole because you were caught off guard. Toss This Item replies to that and says, yeah, not an arsehole, but I don't understand why so many people seem to think they should never under any circumstance have to apologize these days. I just find it weird. I get that apologizing says you're taking responsibility for something in a way, but that's exactly what he would be doing. Taking responsibility for his dog having taken a shit. He hasn't done anything wrong, but he also inconvenienced a business owner who hasn't done anything wrong. Surely saying sorry for inconveniencing that person is the correct thing to do. I think it is. I often get the sense that everyone is really arrogant in modern society because people are so unwilling to ever just say sorry and deal with it. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Maybe you have a different opinion on the matter. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Now this next story comes from Competitive Life 5575 and says, am I the arsehole for giving away an ex-bridesmaid's gift? Throw away for obvious reasons. I recently got married over the weekend, had a party of 8, but my good friend since high school dropped out a few days before the wedding without any reason. I know her job gets stressful, so I didn't push for an excuse, but she still attended the wedding. When I did the proposal boxes, I told everyone that they should expect to spend around $500 for their outfits and bachelorette stuff. No one seemed to mind the cost. In exchange, I spent a good amount on the bridesmaids' gifts like skincare, robes, and slippers with their names on it, spa gift certificate, etc. The bridesmaid who dropped out has a basic name, like Hannah. I just gave her gift box to my cousin, since I couldn't get a refund on most of the items. My cousin and my sister were showing off their gifts on TikTok, and my sister told me that Hannah asked her if they could pay for the robes during the wedding. My sister didn't think much of the question and told her it was a gift. This morning, Hannah asked me when she could pick up her gifts. I told her they were thank you gifts to be my bridesmaid, and she attended the wedding as a guest, so I gave hers away. My mum called me and told me I was being spiteful for giving away her gifts, especially since she attended all the bachelorette events. Not the rehearsal dinner, but the batch party, dress shopping, and the wedding. And since we have been friends for so long, I should have considered her feelings. I told her I didn't even think Hannah was coming, and it wasn't a big deal. Was I being an ass for giving it away? It hurt me that she dropped out, but the gifts were for my party. Edit for an FHQ. My cousin Hannah is 15, so no, she did not contribute financially or attend the batch in Vegas. The $500 included the dress, flight, and Vegas house. My flight was the most expensive, and my mum paid for that. The shoes, accessories, and makeup was up to them. My maid of honor took care of their finances, so I don't know anything about that. I spoke with ex-bridesmaid Hannah's finally. She did have her dress but gained weight and couldn't fit, and there was no time for alterations, and that's why she dropped out. I could not tell by looking at her. I didn't know, but I apologized for giving away her stuff. And we already have the conclusion to this story at the moment, but I gotta say, as I was reading it, I did get like the feeling it was going to be something like that, like the bridesmaid's dress not fitting or something along those lines, because she attended the wedding anyway, so it was like, well. But the first comment said, not the arsehole, the gifts were for the bridesmaid. She wasn't a bridesmaid at her own request. In fact, pulling out at the last minute was fairly rude. Even if she was pissed at you giving away her gift, she could have had the grace to understand that she doesn't get to complain about your behavior, given her own questionable way of operating. People in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. The mayor says you're the arsehole. Why are you making them pay for their dresses and then spending things on random crap? Use that money to cover the cost, or part of the cost, of the dresses and bachelorette stuff. Happy Banana says you're the arsehole based off this comment, and quotes, I didn't ask and she didn't give a reason. I'm not really sure if she got a dress. They were pretty expensive and I don't know where else she would wear it. And then continues, if my bridesmaid dropped out, my first questions would be why, quickly followed with is everything okay? I also find it interesting that you expected your bridesmaid to spend a significant amount of money on dresses etc. and spent your funds on random crap for them. And you gave this bridesmaid's gifts away to make some weird point, as if she hadn't been there for your bachelorette dress shopping etc. Very odd. Piano player says everyone sucks here. You don't know why Hannah dropped out. You didn't ask. You definitely gave away non-returnable items to rando cousin out of spite, as the cousin sure wasn't in the bridal party and didn't contribute anything to the bachelorette party, for example. You bought expensive, useless crap rather than saying going halvesies on the dresses. You have zero curiosity about what happened, and Hannah didn't offer a reason. This is bizarre. And obviously we did get the reason in the end, so now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, your time always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being involved and looking after one another down in the comments as well, supporting one another. I absolutely love to see it. So thank you so much. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Much love.